A crook called me entitled after breaking into my home for changing the locks. So, Saturday night, the missus and I are lying in bed trying to go to sleep when I hear some noise from the back door. Storm door opens and slams shut. I'm not fully asleep yet, so I put on pants and shirt I can find and grab my trusty shotgun. We move to the mountainside, and most of the area is still wooded, and living in such condition wild animals are an issue. We have bears, coyote, raccoon, and bobcat, to name a few. So, as I'm moving to the back door, I hear a window break in the back garage. I look out and see someone breaking into my garage. I scream for the wife to call the sheriff office. Around here, 911 doesn't work well for breaking in. We are connected with a couple of counties, and it gets confusing for them. We get quicker response by calling them directly. I'm now in go mode, thinking some meathead is trying to score some tools for some quick cash. Got out of the house and noticed this person truck still running. I did the only thing I could think of and took the key out of the truck and put it in my pocket and waited for the deputies to show up. Took them 20 minutes to show up. One was state police, the other was local sheriff deputy who were doing radar 10 miles up the road. Wife and I know them both. With my gun in hand, I told them someone was in the garage, and I haven't approached it yet. But here's the key to the perp truck. They go and gun donned out and deal with the situation. The dude was passed out on an old bench seat for an old truck I have by the tool bench. They wake him up and arrest him with little to no issues other than him screaming profanity at them. They told me that I can press charge and to come in on Monday to file the paperwork. He's not getting out anytime soon since, on top of his breaking in, he's being charged with driving under the influence. Yesterday, I spent the day traveling trying to fix the window this jerk broke, since no stores that are open Sunday in my local area. While in my travels, I'm fuming at the fact that I'm having to do this repair on a piece of junk door from the 70s. My wife was telling me to maybe let him go with a warning, but I'm having none of it. So, this morning I went to the sheriff's office. The same deputy was there that arrested the perpetrator, so I asked him how the ride with the dude was. This is the version the officer gave me. Officer: why did you break into the garage? Perp: I was trying to get my stuff back, but someone changed the lock. Officer: you know they purchased that place from Kevin 2 years ago, right? Perp: what? That doesn't give them the right to change the lock without telling me. Officer: yeah, they can. You ain't been in that house for like 4 years, and I was the one who got you out of that house because you beat the H out of your old lady. That's twice I get to arrest you on the same property. Perp: but he shouldn't be entitled to change the locks though. Where else am I supposed to go? A little backstory on the property. We purchased it from Kevin, who's a school board member, and gave us a decent deal on the property. He had the property as a rental for his nephew for a few years. When his nephew started walking in his dad's footstep by getting drunk and beating his girlfriend at the time, he evicted him from the property 2 years before we purchased it. When he evicted him, he emptied the content of the garage as all scrap metal. He found that out Sunday morning when his uncle paid him a visit in jail. Kevin had other renters on the property after. He sold it to us because he didn't want the responsibility of it anymore. He's being charged with trespassing, criminal trespassing, breaking and entering, driving under the influence, and property damage of less than $500. So it's been a little while. I didn't have a chance to meet with Kevin last Thursday, since I darn near the day dealing with police who decided to just bring the attorney who's going to be prosecutor for this case. He was very impressed that I still had all the original receipt for all the tools due to last year's court case. All they would tell me is, because of how much in tools he had access to steal, he would be charged with criminal trespassing, breaking and entering with malicious intent, and attempt of grand larceny. Which all makes sense. He would not comment on the possible driving under the influence charge, just asked for the footage of him driving in, and shows me taking the key out, backing the story I gave the original officer. They were pretty happy with the evidence and said I should be able to get $500 for the damage done to the door as restitution. As for Kevin, we had coffee yesterday, and he spilled the beans on his nephew. I asked him if his nephew was the reason he gave us a good deal on the property, and he said no. He felt most of the property around here are too overpriced and was excited about what my wife was bringing to the school, and he wanted to make sure she wasn't going to struggle while living here. I'm still doing all kinds of work on the house since it's all pretty much 70s to 80s type setup. When the nephew was arrested, he was put into the drunk tank and used his phone call to call his uncle. He was still so drunk that the officer had to get the number for him. He then told Uncle Kevin, "Get your down here and bail me out right now." Kevin responded with, "I'll see you in the morning sun." So Sunday morning, he went there to have a little chat. So, since he was evicted after his arrest, he skipped town before his court case of assault and battery. His other cousin bailed him out and had skipped out on his bail. Cousin lost $750 on his bail. But it doesn't end there. He asked him what he did to support himself. He wheeled and dealed, as he put it. Worked a few cash construction job and farm job, where, get this, he admitted to go back and steal tools, material and parts to sell them in 3 states. He's been to West Virginia, Kentucky, and North Carolina. He ended up getting decent at locating parts and selling them. This is the twist. One person approached him because he was looking for a couple of blocks and transmission. He was offering $5,000 for those parts. Then he remembered that he had those exact parts sitting in his old garage in Virginia, and he was going to get them. He doesn't remember Saturday evening too well. He just remember trying to use his key, and it didn't work on the house, and then noticed the door on the garage and tried to get in there since it never had a lock. But I found one that works. That's when Kevin broke the news that after a month of him skipping town, he cleared everything from the house and garage, brought in a dumpster from a scrap metal, and got $850 for all the metal found in the garage. So he asked him what did he do with the money. He said he approached his other nephew to reimburse him for the bail money, but the nephew declined and offered it to the now ex-girlfriend. This boy lost his S on his uncle and demanded he put up bail money. Then he asked if his truck was still at my place. He said no, state police has it. He turned white as a ghost. The plates he has on the truck are stolen tags from North Carolina. He has no driver's license. He asked him if he was in trouble in any other state. He said he didn't know. After he would score, he'd skip town. Kevin gave all that information to the attorney, and for them to possibly check any other of the state and city for open investigation on theft. On Thursday, he demanded for a bail hearing, and it should come to no surprise that the judge denied any bail whatsoever. I asked Kevin what happened to the ex-girlfriend. After the nephew was arrested, he went to visit her and wanted to make sure she was going to press charges so that the nephew might be able to get sober and get his life straight. He told her not to let nephew on the property, and he was going to give her a couple of months rent-free to figure things out. She ended moving to Harrisonburg with her sister. She had a pretty F-up upbringing, and sister was now able to help her as she's no contact from mom and stepdad. They grew up in Elkin, West Virginia, and both trying to leave nastiness. Sister ended up getting better with education. She just tried to hook up with the first guy that could take her out of town. He hasn't spoken to her in 3 years, so that's pretty much all the info he had on it.